Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amdari. My name is Cynthia. I'm a cybersecurity specialist at Amdari, and I'll be walking you through the solution part of the MediCore ransomware project. So before we go, let me take you through this document. So this is a step-by-step guide of how we are going to solve the ransomware project. So the first thing is you need to understand the scenario. That is very, very important, because if you don't understand the scenario, you will not know what to do. So you need to understand the scenario as a SOC analyst. So the scenario here is that you are a part of a SOC team and you are investigating a ransomware attack on a healthcare company called MediCore. So your goal is to analyze the evidence provided. So I have given you, you've been provided with a zip file. So your goal is to analyze that evidence that has been provided in that zip file. Then you are going to detect how the attack happens, and you are going to provide recommendation. So that is the scenario. The scenario is that you are going to analyze the evidence given to you. You will detect how the attack happens, and you're going to provide recommendation after your analysis. So the next thing you want to do is you want to analyze the phishing email, because that is the #1 item in your zip file. So before I show you the zip file and we start doing our manual analysis, I want to explain something. When you want to carry out an analysis, at every point, you need to ask yourself a question. There's a question you need to ask yourself, and you should be able to provide an answer to that question before you carry out any analysis. Like, when I mean any analysis now, at every stage. So right now, we want to analyze the phishing email. You should ask yourself the question, because that question will give you, help you have a clearer view, a picture of what you want to do, and it will help you know if you are out of scope or not. So for this phishing email, we also analyze the phishing email. The question we want to ask ourselves is, how could this email trick someone? That's the big question we want to ask ourselves. Before we open the email in our zip file, I want us to ask ourselves this: how could this email trick someone? What is in the email that made it so easy for the staff to fall for it? How could it trick someone? So this is what we are looking for when we open this email. So the first thing to do is we want to open our file, our zip file, go to the email. The email is on the #1, it's tagged as #1. Then we are carefully going to read through the content of the mail. We are going to read through the content of the mail. We are going to check the sender of the email, like the sender email address. So, you need to understand how convincing was the email address that sent this email, that sent this mail. So we want to know. So you're going to check the sender email address. Then you're going to check the file type that was attached. So it's likely probably a macro-enabled Excel file. Is it an Excel file? Is it was it a URL link? Was it just a document? So you're going to check that. Then at the end of the day, you will be able to answer this question of how could this email trick someone. So right now I'm going to open the zip file, and we're going to check and analyze this mail that was sent, and we'll see if we'll be able to answer this question of how the email could trick anybody. So right now we have the email here. So this is, like I said, this is #1 phishing email. So the next thing we want to do is we want to click on that. Then this is our file. Oh yeah, this is opened. So you can see there's an invoice attached to the mail. This was the message that was sent. So there's an invoice attached to it. Then it says, "Dear team, please find attached the invoice for March. Kindly ensure payment is made by end of the day to avoid late penalties. Let me know if you need any further clarification. Best clarification. Regards, John Doe, accounts payable, Fixed Supply Incorporation." Let's see if we will be able to open the attachment. Oh, Excel is saying no because the Excel cannot open this file because the file format of file extension is not valid. Okay. Let's see if we can find another way to open the file. Let's go back to the email. So let's go back to the body of the mail. Okay, it's an invoice. It's an invoice. And if you see, okay, let's start from analysis. What we have here on our step-by-step guidance, we say the first thing you want to check is read the email context and check the sender's email address. So let's check the sender's email address. Let's see. So it's from account department. You can see it's from account department. But then there's something phishing about the sender. It's tagged account department. But the email address says accounts@fakesupplier.com. It's not even account at, you get, say accounts@fakesupplier.com. So, and it is tagged invoice for March and it says urgent. So let's do this. The first thing is the email is saying it's claiming to be from the account department. And the email address that sent it said account@fakesupplier.com. Please excuse me. So which also means that yes, it is claiming to be from accounts department, but this email address is not accounts department email address. This is not the email address account department will naturally use. So this looks so, it's obviously from a spam user. So saying, oh, from fakesuppliers.com. So it should have caught the attention of whoever received this mail before even clicking on. I know sometimes this is an oversight on the staff side because, if I am not security conscious or analyzing, I might not really pay attention to the mail, the address, the email address, because the account department is bolder. Yes, is bolder, and you can easily see account department, but then it's easy to pay attention to the account department that is written here, unlike paying attention to the sender, like the email address that was used. So when you just see, when you see account department, then you don't even care to look at, who is sending it? Then it's marked as invoice for March. So imagine I am expecting account department to send me an invoice, and then a message comes in and I'm just in account department invoice for March. So, there's this subconsciousness that does not allow me to pay attention to details, and it is tagged as urgent. So that means I need to act on it fast. So before I even read, there's this human subconscious thing we normally do. Before I read the body of the mail, there is possibility that I have already clicked on the attachment. And if you realize, like, there's every possibility that I have clicked on the attachment before reading the body of the mail. So, even if you read the body of the mail, then if you have clicked on the attachment, the deed is done already. So you cannot reverse what has been done. So there's that possibility to click on that attachment, because especially when you are expecting a mail from accounts department. So you just click there before you now read, okay, they said find attached the invoice for March. Kindly ensure payment is made by end of the day to avoid late penalties. So if late penalties can be anything, it can mean that, whatever the company is buying, it was being sold at a discount or something happened. Then if I don't pay on time, I might not be getting that discount. So it can just be that, I will lose my goods or whatever that penalty might be. So, that's human subconsciousness again kicking in. I don't want to meet late. I want to avoid the late penalties. And it's even telling you, let me know if you need any further clarification. Then regards. Then John Doe is John Doe. John Doe is, the name looks suspicious. John Doe, I should expect that, Why John Doe? Is John Doe the new staff? So those are questions people should ask themselves. Then account payable. Then I said again, fake supply incorporation. Is that the name of the company I want to buy? So it's so obvious. But then let me trick you. Let me tell you a trick. So for this, okay, before I give you that trick, for this particular mail, it is so obvious that, oh, this is not from a reputable client. So this is not from who the person was expecting the mail from. It's obviously a phishing email. But what if it is not? What if it is disguised in a better way? Okay, now let's think as like an attacker. We are SOC analysts looting, but let's think like an attacker. If I was an attacker, let's say a pen tester trying to trick the staff of an organization where I'm carrying out vulnerability assessment or pen testing, do you know what I would do? Let me tell you. I will not make it so obvious that, oh, this mail is coming from someone or it's a phishing or a spam. But I can send a mail and the email provider will flag it as spam, right? But do you know what I would do as an attacker? I will include, because I know that there's possibility that you might not want to even click on any link or URL or anything. But if you are someone that is security conscious, you will want to, if you see any link that is saying report this spam, you want to click on it, right? Yes, you want to click on it. So if I am the attacker, you know what I will do? I will put the attachment or URL link I want to use there. But do you know where I will put my malware? My malware will be in not just the link or the attachment. My malware will be in the report this mail link. I will add to the email. I'll be going to add it to the email when sending it. Then that is where I will put my malware in. So when I put my malware there, so if you are someone that is security conscious, you might want to now click on, okay, oh, this looks suspicious. Let me report the mail. You will click on report, and yeah, you will still fall for the bait at the end of the day. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to think like an attacker every time. Always think like an attacker, because what if what you are saying or whatever you are thinking is not the method the attacker wants to use? So this is also saying that you should always be careful out there, so to know what you are clicking on. So you might see a mail in your spam and say, okay, the server has already flagged that spam, or you see, oh, it's obviously a spam. Then there's another link saying report. It's a good thing to want to report, but then best thing to do is delete. Yes, because you don't know what the attacker, the way the attacker thinks and what they are doing. So they know that, oh, you will know. It's obvious. It's so obvious that, oh, this is a phishing mail. But then the attacker can disguise in another. I just said a method I will use if I was the attacker. Another attacker can use another method. And trust me, if someone that is so security conscious, there is 90% chances of them clicking on reports than deleting. Instead of clicking on deleting, report is so obvious, you are seeing it. So you easily want to report the mail than deleting. So the reason I say that again is for us to be conscious and for us to always think like an attacker. So for this email, for the analysis, for the question we want to ask ourselves now, we want to answer the question we asked before we started analyzing. How can this email trick anybody? The first thing is from an account. It was labeled from an account that works with this person. So if you are expecting an invoice from an accounts department, it's easy for you to not to be cautious of the email address, because I'm expecting a mail from account department. That's one. Then it's tagged invoice for March. You are expecting an invoice. Then it's also tagged urgent. So you have to attend to it urgently. Yes, right? Then the second thing here is there's this, so let's look at, are there any spelling errors? No. Aside for the address, email address that is so obvious that, oh, this is not an actual email address, there are no spelling errors which are common with phishing email. But the truth is, unlike 2 years or 3 years time where you see errors, and you use special characters in mimicking a natural account. These days we have AI in security, so it has reduced that level of having a spelling errors. Yes, the AI in security now, as well, not security now, AI in malicious activities, using AI for malicious activities has reduced that spelling errors we normally say, because most times they will say, before they will say, when you want to analyze if a mail is phishing or not, the first thing you want to check, look out for spelling errors. But these days, that does not work anymore. You hardly get spelling errors because of the sophistication these attackers use these days. So then he said there's no spelling error, but then there's there is a bait that says, oh, it's from someone you are expecting a mail from. Then there's this urgency, say urgent. There's tagged urgent. That said before that it was tagged urgent. They can look, he said, kindly ensure payment is made by end of day to avoid late penalties. This is a tone that signifies urgency. You have to do it very fast, do it quickly. So you need to be fast. So this is a tone that puts you into a mode of, before you think one or two, you've already entered that panic mode of, oh, let me quickly make payments. Or let me quickly download the invoice and see what's there and let me make payments, right? So there's a tone of urgency used in the mail. So that is a red flag. That is one of the red flags. And that is something common with ransomware attack or a phishing email. That's something common with a phishing email. There's always this tone of urgency. So the first is the email address that sent it to you. You have to check if it's from the original address. And peradventure, you are seeing that the mail is from the original address that's normally sends you messages. You have to look out for special characters also. It's not spelling error. Okay, you want to look out for, is this A, the alphabetical A or not? Is this 0 or O? Is this 0? Is it the figure 0 or letter O? You have to be sure. Because most times, for them to, because there's another account already using that name, so for them to be able to use that same name, so they have this way of putting in letters or figures, missing figures that looks like letter O. So you won't really detect what is happening. So you have to check, oh, even if it's original, is it O or is it figure or letter that is there? You have to figure that out. Then there is a tone of urgency. They want to put you in a panic mode to do what you want to do. Then the regard is saying, oh, from John Doe. Do you know who John Doe is? You, like any name that's attached to it, you know who the person is. Then you have to look at the name again. It's so suspicious that it's a fake. Then the attachments. So that this is saying, don't just click on attachments anyhow. So this is part of your job as a security analyst to educate. So this is one of the things you tell staff when you want to educate them on how to stay safe online. So you want to educate staff of an organization. This is part of the things, trainings you do. These are things you tell them during these trainings. So now moving on, we've been able to answer our question of how can this trick someone. The tone of urgency is one. The fact that it's coming from account department, which likely they were already expecting a mail from. Then it was termed as the letter was tagged urgent. So the tone of urgency and all. There are no spelling errors, so it can trick someone. But the obvious reason that gives it away is the fact that aside the accounts, the email address, and the name, there's no other thing that looks tricky in this mail that was sent. So we've answered our question. So now we want to go back to the second question. What do we want to answer? So we've analyzed the phishing email first. So now what do we want to do next? We've answered our question. So step 3, we want to read the ransomware notes. We need to read the notes. What is in the notes? So first, before we go back to the zip file to check what is in the notes, again, we need to ask ourselves an important question. What makes this threatening or urgent? What makes whatever we are going to read in that note, what makes it what makes it threatening and what makes it urgent? That's the question we need to have at the back of our mind as we read through the ransomware note. Then also, how do we analyze the ransomware note? The first thing you want to do is you read the message from the attacker. Then you note the ransomware amount. Yes, you have to take note of the amount that was requested by the attacker and the BTC wallet address if it is available, because you need to include this in your report, and this will help you out in providing means and method where if when it has to come to you advising them on what to do on about the ransom. So let's go back to our zip file. Okay, so this is the ransomware note. Then read. Okay, you said your files have been encrypted. See that? It's even in, yes, saying your file has been encrypted. So all your important files, documents, database, and backups are now encrypted using military-grade encryption. When you hear military-grade encryption, that means it's serious. Oh, it's not so. It's trying to send out it's sending a signal of it's not something your pen testers can break. That's the signal. That's kind of signal it's sending. Then it said, do not try to decrypt them yourself. You risk corrupting your data permanently. So to recover your files, you must pay 1.5 BTC to the wallet address below. Okay, the BTC address, they gave a BTC address. This is the BTC address that was given. So once payment is confirmed, we will send you a decryption tool. Please excuse me. We'll send you a decryption tool and key. You have 72 hours before the key is deleted permanently. Contact us at restoresupport@protonmail.com. They even have an email address. So let's go back to our question before we come back to analyze. The question says, read the message from the attacker. Say, note the ransom amount, which is $1.5 million in BTC now. Then the BTC wallet address. We've gotten the BTC wallet address. Then we want to ask ourselves, what makes this threatening or urgent? So let's go back. What makes it threatening or urgent? That's what we want to ask ourselves now. So it says, sorry, I'll open that again. So the first thing that makes it threatening is the fact that even the title says it's scary. You have been encrypted. You know what comes to your mind? Okay, there is problem. Yes, the title is giving there is problem, there is trouble. That's what the title is giving. Then let's go back and say all your important files, documents, database, and backups are now encrypted using military-grade encryption. Let's take that one at a time. Say all your important files, documents, database, backups. So this is what makes it very scary. It's not just that they've encrypted my files, the important files, the documents or database, including the backup. Like when we're doing introducing us to the project, we said that the backup server has been partially affected. So imagine now the attacker telling you, oh, we did not just encrypt your files, but we've taken over your backup. So it's giving you don't have a choice, you don't have an option, it is finished. So it's either you dance to our tune or you give up everything you own. So that's what it is giving. So it is sending this signal of fear, it is sending the signal of, oh, you don't have a choice, you don't have anything you can do, because you are right now, you are at our mercy. That is what the attacker, that's the signal the attacker is sending by this line. They're saying, oh, all your important files are document, database, and backup have now been encrypted. Then they did not just encrypt it with a simple encryption on MD5 or anything. They use a military-grade encryption, which is very difficult to break into, right? So it's either you play by our rules or you lose everything. We are the only one that can help you decrypt this thing. Then let's move to the second line in the message. Do not try to decrypt them yourself. You risk corrupting your data permanently. So it's not giving, so this is the first line is giving the information. The first line is giving the overview of the situation. Yes, that's what the first line is. So it has painted a picture of, okay, this is how bad the situation is. So the second line is not giving you a warning, it's giving warning. The first line has painted the picture, the scenario. So the second line is now giving a warning, saying, oh, yes, we've said we've encrypted everything. You might have a badass pen tester or a security personnel that can decrypt this. But the truth is, do not try to decrypt them yourself. Don't even think about it. Don't think about calling your security team. Because when you do, we will delete you will corrupt your system, your data permanently, and we will delete your data permanently. So imagine your backup is affected, your main server is affected. So when they delete permanently, it is gone. So it's giving warning. Then the third line is not giving, okay, we've painted the scenario, we've warned you, but then there is a solution. That's what the third line is giving. So to recover your file, you must pay 1.5 BTC to the wallet address below. See, they painted the solution, they gave a warning, and they are now providing solution. Say, okay, for this threat we just gave you not to happen, pay this amount of money. And like I said in our previous video, that the reason why they always ask for BTC is because they don't want to be traced. If they pay in cash, it's easy to trace them and get them. But then, if they are paying with using BTC, it's nearly impossible to trace them. I said nearly impossible to trace them, yes. But then, yes, so they've given their BTC address. Then once payment is confirmed, we will send you a decryption tool and key. So this is a solution. But then there's another threat again. You have 72 hours before the key is deleted permanently. So they gave a scenario. The first thing is they gave a scenario. They painted the scenario for the picture for you to see. Then they gave a threat, like a warning. There was a warning. Then the third line was saying, oh, there's a solution. And now there's another threat. So this threat is giving time frame of 72 hours. So if you do not provide the ransom within 72 hours, so if the organization did not provide the ransom within 72 hours, the data will be deleted permanently. And you might want to ask, oh, how can they reach them? How can they negotiate? Because negotiation is possible in a ransomware attack. You can negotiate the price with the attacker. So to contact them and do the negotiation, they left an email address. So they left an email address where you can contact them and negotiate and inform them. So what makes it scary is the fact that there is possibility that they will delete all your data within 72 hours. So if no action has been taken within 72 hours, there is a risk for the organization to lose every data. So this is one of the things that makes it scary and urgent. And the fact that this is one of it, the time frame is short, it makes it scary and urgent. Then the kind of the files that has been encrypted. So they not just encrypt the files that are on the system, even the backup is affected. So that is very scary too, yes. And makes it very urgent, makes it urgent for the organization to take action and pay this ransom. So let's go back to what do we need to do next. So we've gone through the email. So from what we've done so far, we've been able to detect that the attacker got access to the system through a mail, through a phishing email, by sending a phishing email. And the phishing email that was sent was not just sent, it was the malware was embedded in the attachment, like in the file that was attached to the mail. So it was not a URL link, but a document that was attached to the message. Then we've read the ransomware notes. So we've seen how critical the issue is. We are able to now say, oh, it is a really big case. So what do we need to do next? So we need to go into examine the encrypted file. So they told us we've encrypted all your files, but let's confirm if these files are truly encrypted. The files that said they're encrypted are truly encrypted. So we want to open the encrypted file folder. Then we are going to look for files with extensions like locked. So any file that has locked on it means it is encrypted. Then these files simulate what happens when ransomware encrypts user data. So what happened is that when we are able to find that, oh, the files are actually been locked, so that's just a representation of what actually happens when a ransomware attack happens. So you see those files, you are seeing the file, but you cannot access them because it has been encrypted, so it's locked. So let's go back to our zip file and see. So the encrypted files are here. So yes. So as you can see, employee data. So you can see so it's locked, and as you can see, even I'm getting a signal, oh, don't even try to open it because it's infected. So it's locked. You can see it said it's locked. Then we have the employee data is locked. The budget for the year 2025 is locked. We have the client info is locked. So all the clients, the patient's information are locked. We have another client data. So here's the client information. Here we have the client data, which are the patient now is locked. Then the finance document is locked. Then the HR policy text is locked. Then the HR data too is locked. So everything is locked. So this is locked. Okay, locked file. Let me check. Okay, the budget is locked file. Let's see. I think I can still open the budget. No, I don't want to open it. It's going to give me a signal of the mail has been, the document is infected, so I don't want to, I'm not opening it in my virtual environment, so I don't want to affect my system with that. So as you can see, this is how a file that has been attacked looks like encrypted looks like. It's always showing locked. So what next do we want to do? So we are going to review the windows. We want to review the window event log. So what we want to do here is we want to search for log events, which is about when you are looking for log events, we need to look at for this error 4624. We are going to look for the failed logins, which is 4625. We are going to look at new services, which is 7045. So in case you are seeing in a presentation, you are not seeing it explicitly or written in plain text as paid logins. But if you see this number 4625, just know that it was an attempted login that failed. So let's go and review our window log. So the event logs. Oh yes, so we have our event log here. So in the event log, you can see log time, the security log name is security. Source name, Microsoft Windows Security Auditing. Can you imagine? So the event log 4624. So we say we are looking for, which is 4624. This is the event log event. So the event code is 4624. Then the record number, we have the record number here. So the event type is tagged as 0. So time generated, this was 2024. 2025. It was generated 2025 April 01. So on the 1st of April, that was when it was generated. On the 1st of April 2025. This is what I'm reading out. This is the date 2025, 4th of April 01. Then this was the time it was generated. Event category. Then computer names, we have the HR service, which is the 01. Then we have the security ID. This is the security ID. for the HRO service. Then we have the account name. So the account that's attacked now, this is the account name. As you can see, John Doe, which was the name they used in the mail. So account domain. Then this is a MediCore domain. Then the log on type is 3 times log on processes NTLM SSP. Then we have the authentication package, which is NTLM. Then we have the source network address, which is our IP. This is the IP address that was used. Then the source port 51820. So this is the source port 51820. Then log name security, still the same thing. So no, it's not the same thing. Let's analyze this part. So let's analyze it. So there's a difference from the first attempt and the second attempt. So this second time, log name security, just as the first one. Then the source name, Microsoft Windows security auditing, same thing. Then the record number is still, the record number changed, which means this is the second attempt. So the first one says 102.334. 102.334. So the record number is saying 102.335, which means there was a second attempt. This is the second attempt. Then the event type is still 0. Then time generated. So it's still the same date, but the time has changed. Yeah, the time has changed. The same day, but the time changed, which means it was an attack. It was after the first attempt to log in. Then as the security ID too has changed, but there's something else that changed: the account name. So here account name was John Doe, right? Which is the attacker's plain name, or the attacker's the name the attacker is using. But here you now see that the account name is now admin user. Admin user. So that means the attacker has gained root privileges. They've been able to escalate their privileges from just a user here. Here it was the attacker was just a user. But in this case, the attacker has gained root user. That means they've gained, that was why they were able to encrypt. So the email, the malware gave them an open door to get into the system. So in hacking, or let's say vulnerability, okay, let me use it as a red team now, because red teamers carry out the same thing an attacker or an hacker will do. That's what they do. So I will be using red team instead of saying an hacker. So in red team vulnerability assessment or penetration testing, there are rules to it. The first thing is you want to gain access. After an attacker gains access into the system, that is just the first step. So how do you gain access into the system? Probably you're able to bypass the username and password, you gain access. But the fact that you gain access, you are just a user. The privilege is still very low. They are especially a very low a user privilege. So which means they cannot actually change anything, delete or change anything on the system. So for you to do a lot in the system, you need to elevate your privileges. So that it is called, in cybersecurity, we call it privilege escalation. So you need to escalate your privilege and become a root user or an administrator. So it's either called, you either become a root user or you become an administrator for you to be able to carry out some major function in the system. So this is what the attacker did. So here the attacker was able to, through the malware, they were able to gain initial access to become a user. But here the attacker has elevated their privileges and they are now an admin user. So that means they've gained root user access, they've elevated their privileges, and they now have the same authority an admin or a root user will have. So failure reason, okay, account domain victim call, which is MediCore, which is MediCore. So failure reason, so there was a failed attempt at first. So the failure reason was unknown user name or bad password. There was an attempt to log in, but then it was from an unknown user. So log on type 3. Let's see. That's the second login. So the third login. So look at this, the IP address. So let's see if it's the same IP address from the first one. Okay. Okay. The IP address has changed. So this is the new IP address that was used, which is different from the first IP address. So the IP address changed. Then let's try again. Let's see. So at this place, they have user, they've get a video period, but they were still not able to log in. So it means there was a failed login there. Okay. Okay, so, oh, yes. So the fourth time now, tried accessing this document. This was the fourth time. Okay, this was the fourth time they tried accessing the document. So look at what happened now. Still the same. It's still on the same day. Okay, no, not on the same day anymore. So this is now okay. Okay, it's no longer on the same day. This is now 11th. 11th. Okay, yeah. 11th of April. You know, they started this attempt, they started these whole processes on the 1st of April. So this is now 11th of April. This is 11th of April. This is when they were able to gain access. So notice the computer name, HR server 01. So, you know, the third time they tried as an admin user. So which means from an admin user, they were able to have access to the HR server. So right now, the computer name is now, they are now operating from the HR server. So the HR server. So because they are operating from as an insider, they were able to look at the service name, win of data, which is what the HR uses. Then the image patch type. So we have the image patch type here, which is program data / win update, then update. So there was an updated version here. The service type, user mode service. So it's an HR that is now operating as an HR now. Then the service type is the start type is auto start. So they have full control right now because they logged in as an admin, so they were able to access the HR server. So they are now in the HR server. Then that's the account name, local system, which has changed from John Doe to local system entirely. So yeah, so this is still from the HR server. So still operating from the HR server, there was another attempt. So there was now a PowerShell command executed. So what happened here is that still from the HR server 1, so there was a message sent. They were able to execute a PowerShell script from base encode command. So it was through this PowerShell script that they were able to carry out the encryption. So the command, this was the command that they ran through the PowerShell script. So from this now, we'll find out that it was a PowerShell script that was used at the end of the day. So let's go back to what are we actually looking for. So it says search for logon events. We saw this logon events that happen at each stages of attempt to log in. They look for PowerShell events to trace attacker command, which we got. So, this was the PowerShell, I'm sorry. So this was the PowerShell events that happened. So the PowerShell events only happened the last time they were able to log in as an HR from the HRO server. Then I said, okay, look for PowerShell event. After searching for the okay, you've gotten the PowerShell event. So the PowerShell event will help us trace the attack command. So we're able to know the kind of commands the attacker used from the PowerShell event. So we're able to, so you can see now that we're able to get that, oh, this was the command the attacker ran. This was the command that was used for the event. So thank you so much for coming with me this far. In our next video, we'll be looking at we'll analyze the logs, the system logs that was gotten. Then we'll identify some parameters in the logs. Then we'll also look at investigate the network pickup. Then we'll try out work with the IOC list. Then also use the MediCore attack navigator to map out the event of this attack. So see you in my next video. Thank you so much.